This is the 11th dialogue between J. Krishnamurti and David Bohm at Brockwood Park, 1975.
What shall we talk about, sir?
Well, last time, at the end, I was suggesting the question of the three qualities. I could say, or whatever, we call them truth, intelligence, and truth, wisdom, and intelligence.
That's right.
And the relation possibly to experience.
That's right. We're going to talk about that. Did you ever hear of Kaiserling?
Is that an economist or no?
No. He was a philosopher.
A philosopher, a German, yes.
You must know. Yeah. Kaiserling.
Yes,
he started a school of wisdom.
Oh.
In Darmstadt or some place like that. And also in India there was a school of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me to go once to it. I said I wouldn't go because you can't teach wisdom. Their idea of wisdom was to study a lot of books.
Well, that's one idea, to accumulate the wisdom of the
Wisdom,
ages.
yes, that's it. What does that word come from?
Well, I looked up that.
First of
all, wisdom has the same root as wit, and it has the same root as seeing, like video.
Has it to do anything to do with vidya, Sanskrit word?
Yes, vidya also means seeing in Sanskrit. You see, it's
of course.
And wit is the same word.
Wit, oh yes.
Witness, probably. And wisdom. Some others I've forgotten by now.
First of all, how would you want to approach it? Can wisdom be learned?
Well, this is a difficult question. You see, it can't be learned in the usual sense. The question is there any way of imparting wisdom?
Yes.
In some sense. Conveying it. But one of the definitions that stuck in my mind was that it was a capacity for sound judgment.
Capacity for sound judgment.
That's one of the phases of it. As in this area where thought properly functions, then thought will be capable of sound judgments. Yes, well, looking at the dictionary, that's... let's see the word wise I've made a mistake. Yes, I was right. From a root base wid, or Aryan based wid, meaning to see, to know.
To know, that's right.
Right.
Arya wide.
The same root as vide in Latin and idea in Greek. And wisdom, it says the quality of being wise, that's not much help. Sound judgment, sagacity. Then the second meaning, archaic, is learning, knowledge, and science, the wisdom of the ancients. See, that's another meaning to the accumulated wisdom, but that is not what we mean.
Is it a confusion between knowledge and wisdom?
Well, there has been over the ages such a confusion, you see, but clearly from the root of the word it means not so much knowledge, but the act of seeing or knowing.
That's the act of seeing.
The act of seeing, and is the basic root, but it has also come to mean apparently the capacity to make sound judgments, which depends on perception.
Yes.
In other words, judgments are not made from thought or
but from accumulated knowledge?
No, but from perception. You see that, in other words, I think a judgment is merely the expression in thought of a sound judgment is the expression in thought of a perception. Yes. In other words, see, a judgment means originally to divide. I say the word judge.
Judge, to divide.
To divide. And the German word Urteil is the original division. And you make a distinction or a discrimination and a sound judgment should make it according to a perception, not according to knowledge or tradition. Or
Yes.
you see, you would have to see the traditional judgments are to divide between good and evil, right and wrong, true and false, or just simply to divide in a technical way between cause and effect, or between relationship and non-relationship. You see, for example, we made the division saying that truth
and
reality are not related, which is a judgment.
I see.
The form of thought is a judgment, but if that were just based on knowledge, it would have no meaning.
No, quite.
But if that judgment communicates a perception.
And also discerning,
Yes.
Discernment, to discern between essential, non-essential.
That's right, yes.
Truth and false and so on.
That's right, that's a perception. But in the form of...
Is perception dualistic?
No, but the way of expressing it is dualistic, you see.
That's it.
You see,
that's
this is a point which is hard to explain, but our language inevitably divides.
Language divides.
And
yes.
it must express something which is whole as a judgment, namely as something divided, but nevertheless one.
One, quite.
And this is the way there was a way I had in mind. See, our thought has to give an account of the perception, our words, right? An intelligible account of perception.
Perception, quite.
And part of the intelligible account is is in the form of judgments. But as you were saying, the description is not the described. See, the account is not what is accounted for.
Okay. So what is then, if it is perception and not judgment, I just want to... It is not discernment. But wisdom is perception that... Is wisdom the perception that discernment exists when there is duality? Would that be wisdom?
Well, when is there duality, you see? When is there duality?
When there is discernment.
Yes, but there is a certain area where discernment is called for. Is that what you mean to say, in the area where thought belongs?
Yes, in the area where thought belongs. And to see where thought belongs is wisdom.
Yes, that's the point. That's the key to wisdom, really.
Yes.
That is, if thought can see if thought knows if thought is aware of where it belongs, then it will make sound judgments.
Yes, it
correct
makes
discernments.
But that's not wisdom.
What?
If thought knows its place,
yeah.
I can put it, and functions within its own limit,
yes,
then that is the operation of thought.
Yes, but
that's not wisdom.
That's not wisdom, but
no.
that is, let's see, we have to make it clear that is taken as one of the signs of wisdom, you see.
I see, I'm glad we're discussing
Yes, you see, it's not to say that is the essence of wisdom, because that really is the outward form of an act of a man who is wise.
Quite.
Hmm?
Quite. So, would you say that wisdom is the perception of the limitation of thought and its operation in the limited area?
Yes, that's the essence of wisdom.
That's the essence of wisdom.
To perceive the limitation of thought. And therefore, then the act of such a man will take the form of sound judgments, you see.
I see, yes, quite.
Right.
Quite. You see, I was... discernment, you must have heard of Shankara, Indian philosopher. I believe he lays a tremendous emphasis on this capacity to discern.
Yes, but then, the dictionary also says to make sound The question is, what is it that makes the judgment or discernment sound? You see, that's the...
It can be very logical, sane, clear thinking that can make a sound judgment.
Yes, but the person won't have... if his thought goes outside its proper area, he won't have that.
No, of course not. But very few realize the limitation of thought.
Yes, well, now that's the point, that if you merely put it in the outward form, it's misleading. You see, the sound judgment is merely the outward manifestation of wisdom.
Yes.
And if you emphasize that, then it's already wrong.
Yes, quite.
Because that is, then you are treating it as if it were the essence.
Essence, quite.
But the essence is the perception which allows one to see that thought is limited, and also the readiness of thought to move, to move with that perception.
Yes.
The way I put it is to give a correct account of its limits, and to move and to take that account into account. You see, and moving to. In other words, to see. It seems that this was something that I was observing. That, let's say there is a perception, then thought may give an account of that perception, you see, which, but that is not the perception.
Perception, no.
But still, thought has to give the account.
Yes, yes.
Right? And,
Yes.
and see, in some sense, you could compare thought to the witness, you see, the witness of what is observed. But the witness, if he gives a correct account of what he observes, that's good. But if he puts in his own thought as part of the account, it's wrong. You see, that's well known in court. And the difficulty is that this witness is continually putting in his own conclusions, his own ideas, and as if they were perceptions.
Distorting.
It's distorting because he's putting them in, not saying this is my conclusion, but saying this is what I see.
Yeah, quite.
And that is not wisdom, you see.
And what's the difference then between wisdom and intelligence?
Well, that's what we wanted to come to, you see. There are different words, and one wonders if there's not some different shade of meaning sometimes, you see. There are three words: wisdom, intelligence, and truth, you see.
Yeah, wisdom, intelligence, and truth, yeah.
Now, we discussed intelligence once before, and at that time I think we were very nearly treating it as containing wisdom and truth. You see, we were using one word to cover the whole, I think.
Whole. Now we have separated it.
Yes.
Truth, wisdom, and intelligence.
Yes. Now, you see, the truth that you say is first, and from truth may flow wisdom, and from wisdom, intelligence. Is that...
So, would a man who perceives truth be foolish?
No, I mean, you see, foolishness is the opposite of wisdom, but you see, there would be no point. The truth would not lead a man into folly. I mean,
no. If one sees what is truth, he acts according to that.
Yes.
And that action, would it be a wise action?
Well, it would inevitably be a wise action.
Yes, and therefore not foolish,
Yeah.
and therefore an intelligent action.
Yes, but we want to see why we use the two words wise and intelligent. You see, either there one of the words is superfluous, or there's a further shade of meaning that
Yes,
we have to
correct,
explore,
correct.
right? Now, we say there's a difference between truth and wisdom first. And see, truth is that which is, we said.
Yes.
Now, wisdom is somewhat more limited. It's the way we've seen it, it's the perception, primarily the perception of the limitations of thought, right?
Yes.
Right, so that thought does not do anything foolish. I mean, if thought does not know its limits, then
it does
all sorts of foolish things. Now, as soon as thought
Right.
can know its limits, then it does not do anything foolish, you see. So perception of that which is, it seems to me, goes far beyond the perception of the limits of thought.
Why have we then divided truth, wisdom, and intelligence?
Well, we don't know. It may be partly the tradition, of our